Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is Tuesday, November the 8th, 2011. We'd like to welcome you to the live call-in edition of the Free Thought Forum, brought to you by the friendly folks at Pennsylvania Nonbelievers. What we should tell you at this time, that the opinions expressed in this show are not necessarily those of White Rose Community Television, Channel 16, or Comcast. That the views and opinions expressed are solely those of the people speaking, and nothing more should be read into it. Today, I am your host, George Zerba, and my guest and remarkably talented person here in his own right, very, very humble, is Dastardly Doug.
Thank you.
So, we'd like to know why, if you haven't voted, you're sitting here watching us when you should be out voting.
Well, they can vote after this.
Oh yes.
They can
Okay.
watch us and
There
then
is
vote.
still.
But do vote.
There's still time.
It's important to get out there.
Yeah, and being election day, well, it's kind of an off year anyway. But then again, lately, every year has been kind of off.
But in that case, your vote's even more important because it can come down to just a few votes.
Yeah.
People have lost elections by very slim margins if just a few people turned out.
Yeah, and the thing is that so many people have that point of view. Well, my vote doesn't count. Right. No, maybe your vote doesn't count, but yours and 1,000 other people who don't think their vote counts.
It often comes down to, especially in New York City, if one person in each block went out and voted for a certain candidate, they'd win.
Yeah.
Just comes down to that, you know. Now, speaking of elections, someone pointed out the other day that, Herman Cain said God told him to run. And Michelle Bachmann, God told her to run, and God also, I believe, told Rick Perry to run. And someone pointed out God is fooling two of them, at least. Because he's telling them all to run, but they can't all win. So I wonder why God's doing that. Maybe he's just a jokester. He likes to get people riled up and tell them to go out and run and
but
just to break their heart.
Have you ever noticed, though, the closer you get to election day, the more religious the politicians get? I mean, they are so self-serving and self-righteous, and it's surprising how many of them want to let you know that they have accepted Jesus Christ as their personal Savior. Like that. And I think how disingenuous that it is. I mean, it's they're trying to hook you, and I guess it does sort of convince some people, the real religious fanatics. I think, oh, he's one of us. When really, it doesn't mean a thing. They're just as corrupt as anyone else. They still have temptations of the flesh. They still like to grope, and
they're human.
Yeah, they're very human. But the thing is that they can use God as a way to gain votes. There's this very funny comedian named Chris Rock, okay, and he has got this routine out. Whole long thing, I'll only tell you a little bit because I don't want to spoil it if ever you hear it. But he goes on how men at least 100 times a day, their thoughts turn to sex. Mm-hmm. Some form of sex, not necessarily the act, but some sort of sexual innuendo. And he was saying how messed up some guys' minds are, that when they would do anything for a woman like that, right away in the back of their head, they think they're going to get lucky. you hold an elevator door open for a woman,
Yeah.
and in the back of their mind, it's a pretty woman, and
Yeah.
you could get
Well,
lucky.
I can't say that I think that, 'cause maybe I'm too old for that.
Well, it's because your wife is here. Of
That's
course,
right.
you wouldn't think that. But
I'd have to I have to start counting then every day and see if I get up to 100.
yeah. Oh, I think that I exceeded that at about noon. I think.
You must get up early then.
Yeah. It was a very early day.
You know, you talk about the religious thing, the politicians. I think it wasn't really Jimmy Carter that started that. Thank God.
Poor guy.
God
They
bless America.
raked him over the coals.
Well, but I think he really started that, which is disappointing because he was.
Well, he was joking. He says, have you ever cheated on your wife? He said, no, but I have lusted in my heart.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
God.
But he was very religious. I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was truly a religious person. Whereas some of them, I really kind of doubt that they're really all that religious. They're just they know that's how to.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a way for them to get lucky.
Yeah.
That they figure if they play the religion card, even if they have never been to church, once in their life, that they can still turn around, and they know that guy out there, he's a fundamentalist,
Right.
and if he starts embracing God and saying how religious he is, he's got his vote.
Yeah.
Like that, and I said, how devious that is.
Yeah, well, I understand Ronald Reagan, and we have our expert here, didn't have a church in Washington. And we heard a story once about him going to communion. He was going to go to communion. And he didn't even know anything about communion.
Yeah.
So his wife and were there, and someone was teaching him how to do the communion, and he wasn't really paying attention. Finally, they said, just follow Nancy. So Nancy goes up to the communion, and there's the wine, and they hand her the wafer, and she accidentally drops the wafer in the wine.
Yeah.
Accidentally. So Ronnie comes up and grabs it and just throws it in the wine. He didn't know what he was supposed to do. Nobody brought that up, though. I guess they kind of hid that. But yeah, a lot of them.
It's a funny story.
Yeah.
That really is. But I mean, you don't have to be religious to be a leader.
No.
It
shouldn't matter what religion you are. Religion should be separate.
Yeah.
When John Kennedy ran, he said, "I will not let my faith, interfere with my duties as a president." That's the way it should be.
But look how many people were so scared. I remember when he got elected, and it was everyone was talking about it. All the Catholics were going, "Oh, this is good. This is really good," and all the Protestants were saying, "I don't want any damn Catholic as president."
Well, they thought the Pope would be running the country. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, but instead, it was probably the hookers that he had sneaking up the back stairs.
He had a lot of women, but he's the president. I mean, do we really want a president who's such a dork he can't even get women? I mean, that's we want a guy who can. Who knows the way around.
I totally agree. I mean, that I really think that they should bring sex back to the Oval Office. I really do. I mean, they should make Monica Lewinsky a saint.
Okay, Saint Monica.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there a Saint Monica? Oh, my wife tells me there is a Saint Monica. She's a Catholic expert.
I mean, there are, of course, there should be, rules and regulations in place if you're going to go into the Oval Office. Then if you're a woman, you have to wear a blue dress, and promise never to dry clean or clean it. Just hang it in your closet.
Now, who is Saint Monica the saint of?
Mother of Saint Augustine.
The mother of Saint Augustine.
Mother of Saint Augustine.
That makes her a saint, huh? Okay. Our Catholic expert fills us in there. Now, a lot of people talk about religion and politics. Don't want a Mormon president.
Oh, I know.
It's amusing to us as atheists that these Christians are fighting with each other. Some people saying Mormons, they're not Christians.
Yeah.
They are Christians, but they don't believe exactly what they do. So, I mean, I agree that's kind of funny, the underwear stuff and all that. You know, we get a kick out of that. But they're Christians. They're theists. They believe in a God, you know. It's kind of funny.
And they believe in Jesus being Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And I don't really think that you can't say that they're not a Christian. I mean, what makes a Christian? You believe that Jesus was the Son of God, therefore he was Jesus Christ.
Jesus H. Christ. Right?
Jesus H. Christ, yes.
I've heard his name invoked a lot.
Yes.
But it is funny that so many of them think that if you don't believe exactly what I believe, you're not really a Christian.
Yeah.
You know, and that's crazy talk. And you wonder why God wouldn't just do one of those things. Didn't he write in the sky at sometimes, you know, and send the little messages down and sent the tablets down with Moses? Why doesn't he just do that again? And say, here's the story. Here's what you should believe. Yeah. These guys got this right, and the other guys got that right, and come on, let's forget all this division here and different ways of looking at it. You know, he could straighten it out in a minute.
Yeah, but don't forget, they also said that Muhammad. This is what he did. This, yes, the Bible is a holy book, and even the Muslims agree. Yes, it's a holy book, but the Quran. Did I lose light or something? It looks awful dark all of a sudden there.
Well, it is getting dark earlier now.
Yeah, maybe it looked like we lost a little.
Yeah, one of our experts here is going to look at that. Oh, yeah, we have.
There I am. I got a split personality.
Yeah, and I'm right behind you, but I'm not split. That's
yes.
Good. They don't need two of me, that's for sure. Two of you would be okay, but that's
George
two of me.
The Friendly Ghost.
There we go.
Yes.
There's that ghost showing up again.
Mm-hmm. Must be one of those levers stuck halfway.
This is great special effects we have here at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, it was certainly a lot better than what we used to have. Gosh, but it's going to get.
Maybe it was God playing with us.
Yeah, it could be, but I'll tell you, I'm beginning to have my doubts about God now. And every religious person, is telling me that I am going to be punished by God. I am going to hell, and He's going to smite me. I don't know about, he may not kick me in the ass, but He's going to smite me. Now, I was smitten once, but I divorced her many years later.
I was smitten, and I'm still with her.
Yeah, so.
Best move I ever made.
Yeah.
But God used to smite people a lot in the Bible, didn't He?
Yeah.
And to me, we have a lot of people that need smiting. And I can think of one up in State College who could use smiting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from what he did, So why doesn't God smiting people more? Why isn't He out there smiting these evil people? Hitler, why didn't He smite Hitler? Well, that would have been a good smite candidate,
I mean, when you come right down to it, God has had quite a few chances at me. I mean, legitimately speaking, I'm ghosting out. Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Look at that son of a gun.
Now you're going away.
That's my spirit.
Oh, that's it. Your spirit is trying to tell us something. Go.
Yeah. No.
Stop this.
I believe.
Stop this
I
blasphemy.
believe. Now, see, I forgot what the heck I was saying.
I think, though, this will prove, as many things in the past that were thought of as miracles, and that there's really a reason, a technical reason behind it.
Yeah.
Many things in the...
Unexplainable.
Yes, explainable reason. There's a reason behind it.
I mean, God has had His chance at killing me, or letting me die. Let's put it that way. Many times, but I'm still around. Well, if all the religious people are, accurate in their predictions and judging me, I should be dead as a doornail.
You should be.
Right now, but
someday you will, and then they'll say, "See."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It happened.
it took him 70-something years
Yeah,
to
he got it right. Yeah,
to do it, but God finally got it right.
Yeah. We do hear those kinds of things, don't we?
Oh, yes. Especially if we like to do fairs like the Mother's Day fair that we have in York. I mean, that is great. I mean, we hear all kinds of comments from people, and of course our old buddy, the street preacher, has got to come down every single year and try to save our souls. But at the same time, he always prefaces it with that we are going to hell.
Yes. But, he's come every year. At first, it was very contentious. He would yell at us. And as the years have gone by, it's become less and less contentious. And now, sometimes we just sit and have conversations with him that are very, very civil and, very respectful of them and they of us. And so we're getting along much better.
Yeah. Well, once he gets up on his cooler, he uses a cooler as on wheels, as sort of as a soapbox, and once he gets up on that, then it's attack, attack, attack. But before he gets into speaking mode, you can talk to him, just like you and I, and he's an amiable guy. I mean, he's definitely got his own take on religion and on the Bible.
But abortion and gay sex. And,
yes, and
but lately he's been
Catholics.
having another gentleman do most of the preaching.
Yeah, well, you notice his voice is going.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is old. I don't know how true it is, but I heard that he was on dialysis. He had to go through dialysis.
Oh, sorry to hear that. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago, I heard that, and I sent him sort of a get well card. I never heard anything back. Maybe he thought that I was being a smart ass. But just because you have a disagreement like that, I mean, he's got the courage of his convictions.
Yes.
Yeah, no matter what the heck else you may say, you don't necessarily agree with him, but he's got big cojones, and he'll get up there and he will say what he thinks. And
maybe one of his friends can call in here and tell us how he's doing. Or
Yeah.
if Jim's watching, maybe he can call in. By the way, if there's any problem with the picture, it's not us, it's in your set.
Yeah, and God isn't trying to blank us out or anything.
So maybe you should have your set repaired.
Yeah, and please remember that this is a live call-in show, so we would like you to be alive when you call in. Okay, we've had a couple of people call in that we've had our doubts about.
Well, they were still living, but just barely. Yeah. And the question we get most often is, you don't believe in God, and why are you on TV? Well, we're on TV because there's a lot of Christian shows on TV, so why shouldn't we have a show? And let people know that
there's another side.
And there are many atheists who, since we're not gatherers and we don't have churches to go to, don't know there's an atheist group out there.
Yeah.
And there is. And it meets the first Saturday of every month at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at 10 o'clock. From 10 to 12, and we sit there and just talk about atheist stuff.
Yeah, and we will have a laugh at some things that we think are religious, funny on a religious front, and by the same token, we also, talk about many other things. Religion does not rule our lives.
Yeah.
We'll talk about political candidates, although we can't talk about it
Right.
here because we are a non-profit organization.
And we have to be careful even in the meetings.
Yeah, and even in the meetings, you can make a little comment, but you cannot endorse anyone.
Right.
So we really are middle of the road when it comes to our political stance.
And of course, if you stand in the middle of the road, you get hit by a car. So that's,
Undoubtedly, and it's usually from the rear.
yeah.
You just don't hear it coming.
We live an atheist. Many atheists like to argue with people. So when you come to the street fairs, if you want to stop by the booth and have a little argument with us, you can do that. And as a matter of fact, if we're in our meetings and there are no Christians or theists to argue with, we argue amongst ourselves. We just love arguing. We're just argumentative people.
That's just the way that we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might call it debating, I guess.
Yeah.
Great debates.
And then, of course, if there's a lot of us there, then it becomes one big mass debate. So.
We love to go at it. We love to talk, most of us.
Yeah.
Some more than others.
Repeatedly, my boss says, "Can't you, sum up what you have to say in 25 words or less?" And I go, "No."
Yeah, most atheists are not big on brevity. That's for sure. They like to go on and on.
I always feel like I have to explain it in detail, just in case you don't understand it.
I see.
Right there.
Now you got a lot of senior citizens, not necessarily atheists, but all kinds of senior citizens, who have a lot of time to fill in their day, and they love to stretch. They love to take a short story and make it long.
Mm-hmm.
So they love to talk, and I think it's just loneliness a lot of times. And if you're lonely, you can come down. You can call us now, or come down to our meeting first Saturday of the month.
Yeah.
We'll
Can you
love to talk
put
with
our
you.
phone number up on the screen, please? Put the banner up.
Well,
Well,
it might be the problem with your set at home.
now there it
Okay,
is.
There it is.
Yeah, so like I said, this is a live call-in show. The only thing that you got to remember is that we are on a 7-second delay. And what that means for you, the caller, is that if you speak into the phone, we hear it live and right at that moment. But it's 7 seconds before you will hear what you say on your television set. So if you're listening to your TV set and you say hello and you don't hear it, you think, oh, I'm not on the air. Yes, you are on the air. So we suggest that you turn down the volume on your TV set or your computer if you're streaming us live. And that way it's not confusing.
But then when you're done with the call, hang up real quick and turn your TV on so you can hear the last 7 seconds.
Yeah.
You'll hear yourself for 7 seconds.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. That's the way science works nowadays. You have to have more or less a 7-second safety delay in there. There are some nuts.
Oh, our nice callers would never do anything untoward.
No, of course not. Any more than Howard Stern's calls.
Well, he's on Sirius Radio, satellite radio, so they can say whatever they want on there, and they do. I happen to be a listener. Yeah.
So I know. I was for many years when I used to drive a lot more than I did now, and I actually had my work van hooked up with XM at the time that he was.
Well, he's only on Sirius. He was not on XM.
Well, I must have been on Sirius.
Yeah, you must have been Sirius. Yeah.
Well, actually, up for a while, I got them both.
And now it's Sirius XM.
I found him humorous. Like
I do.
And he really did have some people on there that expressed views that represented a lot of the population.
Yeah. Well, I know Tony Bennett was on there recently and got in a lot of trouble for what he said. About war, that's the lowest form of humanity, I think he called it, and so he got some feedback from that. Yeah, Howard does get people to open up and say some things that maybe they shouldn't say, and which is what a good interviewer is supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to go on a TV show, a radio show, and you know that the person is interviewing you, and they are known for sort of twisting, the questions and getting people to open up. Don't come back after the show and say, "Oh, he ambushed me." Well, I'm sorry, but when I walk through the door, I expect an ambush.
Well, yeah, a good interviewer gets people to admit things that they didn't want to admit, or talk about things they didn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And another thing that amuses me now about going back to politicians is how many of them, especially the ones who have not been in politics their life, expect to run for office, especially an office like the presidency, and not have anyone question them, not everyone vet them, not look into their background, and
Yep.
not give them tough questions. I don't know what they're thinking, unless they are CEOs who think these are like my employees, where I tell them what to think, and that's that. No one questions me.
Yeah. No one's going to
That's not the
vet
way,
me.
No, not that's not the way the press works.
Yeah,
That's
no.
not the way it should work. That's their job. Their job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So,
Yeah.
and so
But the
when
thing
you
is,
run for
it-
president, you should expect that.
It used to be that way. I mean, the press used to protect the president and some of the higher ups in the political field, but now everyone's.
Well, I
you know,
think back years ago, they just didn't get into the lurid details
Mhm.
of John Kennedy's sex life. They didn't get into that. They just didn't do that.
Mhm.
And we even know, like, for sports reporters, of which my late father-in-law was one, they knew many stories about sports figures in St. Louis, where he wrote, that he never wrote. He never wrote those things. Now, he
Yeah.
could tell you stories about things that have happened that were untoward, but they didn't write those things. They just didn't do that. That wasn't part of the sports field. They wrote about the games and the personalities and whatnot, but not about the terrible things they did.
Well, I mean, Babe Ruth was a womanizer
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yet,
Oh, you hear a lot of stories about him.
But the great Bambino there, they thought more of his accomplishments than it was more important to focus on that,
Yeah.
because he really was a hero for the young.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. So why tear down a hero with
Right. Why tear him down? And plus, they just didn't. You just didn't write that stuff in the paper.
Yeah.
You didn't do that. There were a lot of.
I mean, just the language
Oh.
that was necessary to describe some of the lurid things. You didn't. You just didn't do that.
Yeah.
You didn't use that kind of a language. Now the language that is used on television and radio and the airways, you don't even have to be a subscriber to some private service anymore. I was listening to a program the other day called something about what makes us laugh, or what is funny, and it was like a history of black comedians, and they started talking about filming Eddie Murphy when he did his Raw thing, and of course it was an HBO special, so he could get away, but even then they were telling they were explaining how the censors would come in and they would bargain with various words. Okay, now look, he touched his crotch 4 times like that, and he used the MF word 8 times, and he used the F word if he touches his crotch one less time, and then I'll give him and now, but the thing is that I was watching this on, I guess you could say live TV, and they were using all the words there, and I go, now that is is graphic.
Well, they've relaxed standards. That's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the what was it, George Carlin's there, the
7 words you can't say. Yeah,
7
which we
words
can't say.
you can't say. Well, they actually said those and a whole lot more, and I'm not I can't be listening to this. This is
Well, you're old.
yeah.
You're an old guy. See, young people don't think that. As a matter of fact, my wife.
Oh, I wasn't offended. I just thought it was funny. I hate watching Comedy Central there, and every other word you go beep, beep, and I go, I'm a big boy. I've heard it before.
Well,
Just let them.
They're worried. But my wife watches a show that she keeps saying, they're saying that it's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a rerun of, what's the name of that show? One of the Kara Sedgwick show, yeah. And they use some closer, yeah. They use some language that wouldn't normally be allowed on TV, but and they rerun that show.
Well, it's because your
like
small kids are.
They could hear that and be warped for life. Who knows? They may turn out to be ex-murderers because they heard that word. You know.
Yeah.
I think they're overreacting. Words are just words. You know.
And the thing is that you can't tell me that there is a single word that by the time a kid has been in school for at least 3 years, that he hasn't heard every curse word, every dirty word that there is. That's where you pick it up. And you also pick it up at home when you're sent to bed and then you hear your parents arguing down in the kitchen.
Well, my daughter never heard that.
No.
She never heard those bad words from us. So I don't know where she picked them up, but she learned them at school. But I think also, some people don't want to use that kind of language. They don't want to encourage children or make them think it's appropriate to use that kind of language.
Yeah.
So that's in their defense. That's a reason for not doing it. But yeah, I think we are a little bit too sensitive. I think we're too sensitive about a lot of things that people get all riled up about, you know. But then maybe that's because I'm a Polak, you know, and Polacks are not real sensitive about stuff. And we're pretty blunt about things too. So, you know.
So you've sort of numbed up over the years.
Yeah,
you know.
we're used to it.
Yeah.
We tell a lot of Polak jokes and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, we're not sensitive.
You've got a leather sole and a tanned hide. So
on my shoes, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my hide hasn't been tanned in quite a while. My father did that a few times, but I didn't appreciate it.
But that was funny. You should say that. You know, I was never ever, even though, you know, back in Europe, corporal punishment was really in, you know, for kids. But you know, my father never ever, you know, hit me about the head and shoulders. If I did something wrong, take off his belt and give me about 3 or 4 smacks across the backside. And if I struggled, he'd give me a couple more. And it's surprising, the older I get of the gut, the less I got spanked, because I learned that that hurts.
Yeah.
And of course, your European schools, like you go into European schools and they, you know, you'd go into the principal's office, and you know, they'd have 3 implements laid out on the desk, either a big strap and a little strap, and, or they'd have a switch, a thick one, a thin one, a middle one. And I think when I was about 6 years old, I don't know today whether or not I couldn't learn it or I just didn't want to learn it, but I was supposed to learn a passage from Ruth in the Bible, and I throughout the whole class, you know, they said, well, you give you the whole class and you will recite it, and I didn't recite it, and they sent me up to the principal's office, and he had 3 switches laid out on his desk, and he says, "You have 15 minutes to learn it and recite it." And I still remember that today. Yes,
remember the
I was.
Can you say the passage?
Yes. Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God shall be my God. But it's, I mean, the fear of punishment. So now I think maybe I just didn't want to learn it. I was resisting because I resisted religion. I always asked questions about it. I had Bible studies, and I would ask questions. Well, this can't be right, and they'd send notes home and saying that Douglas is being disruptive in class here because he's asking inappropriate questions. Well, it's inappropriate to them, but.
Right. But now there's been a controversy lately about a gentleman, I think his last name is Pearl, who wrote some books about disciplining children. He says he takes this from the Bible. I understand 3 children have died from people who have followed his advice by beating children.
Yeah.
And I think someone like that, I don't know why this is allowed to go on. I would hope there would be some law that would preclude this, that would make this man stop and stop publishing this kind of thing. But we do have freedom of the press in this country, so it'd be difficult to stop it. But you wish something could be done. I mean, children are dying at the hands of these.
Yeah, but I mean,
maniacs.
if you espouse violence, you can't tell me that that's not against the law. I mean, you're telling someone to commit violence upon someone.
Well,
the fact that it's a child has nothing to do with it. I mean, if I told you to go out and I want you to shoot our technical director.
Oh, I do
back
that.
there.
That I do. Yeah.
Well,
that's not a
maybe
problem.
that was out of the way, but I mean, the fact that I asked you to do it, I've got to be liable. I mean,
there's some reason he's allowed to print these books and sell them, and he's getting away with it. So I don't know. Maybe you can start the movement to get him arrested and thrown in jail.
Yeah, if I get on a roll, I'll probably want to get everyone arrested.
Yeah, but I understand this is a serious situation.
Yeah.
3 children have died from this maniac, and some of these people who do it under the guise of religion. To me, what it is this freak likes to beat children, and now he's using the Bible to justify his sick compulsion to beat children, give them good beatings.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I wish more Christians would speak out about it and say, no, this is not biblical. Not beating your children, especially like I said, with people that died.
Yeah. Well, my kids were actually quite well behaved kids. I mean, they did naughty things, but not to the point of where the heck I wanted to stone them or beat them till they bleed.
We never did either. Our daughter gave us some hard times. My wife's laughing now. Yeah, she. Unfortunately, my wife was a very good child who was very well in school and was a well-behaved child, and I was a troublemaker, and my daughter took after me. So, unfortunately for her, she married the wrong guy.
Mm-hmm.
She got a troublemaker for a
The
but
seed doesn't fall
far
far from the tree, does it? No.
But actually, she's turned out rather well.
Yeah.
She's doing well.
So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is a live call-in show. The number should be on your screen. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to give us a call at that number, and like I said,
Or if
questions or comments, or
if
change
they want
the
to call
subject.
and if they want to change, or just call and yell at us,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
get plenty of that. I don't know why people get so angry at atheists sometimes, but they do. Some of them do.
I think that they feel that if we attack or criticize religion, ergo that we must be criticizing them personally.
Yeah.
And I think that if we point out some of the things that we consider as being silly, ridiculous about religion, then they view it as us ridiculing them personally. Yeah, and but I mean, everyone has got some sort of crush. There are people that they couldn't live as an atheist. They would have to have that
Well, it's
the
community.
order of a religion.
Well, one of the things American Atheist President Dave Silverman talks about is not necessarily converting people or theists to atheists, but getting atheists out of the closet, and getting them to admit they're atheists and come out. We know there are atheists in churches because it's a community and they've brought up in the church and they don't want to disappoint their families or for whatever reason they're there. They really don't believe. They really question, but in many cases, if they leave the church, say I'm an atheist, I don't believe this anymore, their whole social life is gone. That's where all their friends are. That's where they go to the ice cream social and they go to the dances and it's their whole life. So that's why they don't want to. They can't let go. So we know that there are many people in churches that were like us who at one time were in church who really didn't think much about it. Kind of just went because that's what you're supposed to do, And you really weren't. Kind of hard to call yourself a hardcore Christian because you were just there because you were supposed to be there.
Yeah, they were there for the food and the
well, the entertainment. And if the community, there's something to be said for that. People need a community.
Yeah.
For us, it's enough to have our Packer fan club. That's enough for us.
Yeah.
And we get together with our community there. And since we're 8-0, we're all a very happy community right now. Of course, that could change.
At a moment's notice.
Yes. We hope not. Yeah. But there are many reasons people go to church, and we don't want this country to become as many foreign countries where religionists are at each other's throats. Look at the Sunnis and the Shiites killing each other. The Catholics and the Protestants in Ireland, they kill each other.
Yeah.
This is crazy talk.
Over what?
Craziness, over religion. So, we should, this country, live and let live. You want to believe what you believe? Fine. We won't believe in that. But let us be.
Yeah.
Once again, if there was a God, would he encourage people to go kill each other? Because and many of them believe in the same God. They're just little variations. The Catholics and the Protestants.
Yeah. I mean, if there's just one God, as most of them monotheistic religions believe, then wouldn't you think that there would be just one word of God? There'd be just like one Bible, one translation, and everyone would agree on everything.
Yeah.
But they don't. I mean, just the Protestant religions. It's split into so many thousands of different groups, and everyone cherry picks this. Oh, I like this. I didn't like that, and I want this religion. But the second that this religion right here does something that they don't like, then they look a little bit over here and say, "Oh, wait a minute. Now I get everything from column A in this church, but I don't have anything in column B here, which I dislike, so I'm going to go over here." I mean, why would you want to do that? I mean,
well, even within various sects, they have debates. I think it was the Episcopalians who had the great debate over gay clergy.
Mm-hmm.
So even among themselves, they couldn't agree whether they should have gay people in the clergy or not. So there's differences everywhere. You know, like I said, if there was just one single God, why doesn't He come down and just tell us, no, here's what I want. I don't, you know, this religion has that part right, that religion has another part right. These folks have this right, they have that right. Let us know.
Everyone thinks that their own personal God is the right God, and that's why I can't believe in a God, because I have too many to choose from.
Obviously, he's got different views at different times. You talk to people, some say, oh, it's okay to do drugs, God will forgive me. Others say, oh no, that's terrible, that's it, you're going to be thrown out of the pool, you know. And they have all kinds of things which is rationalization, but they don't see it that way. To think that, also you hear that if you believe in Jesus Christ, at the end of your life you say, I believe in Jesus Christ, and you mean it, you go to heaven. So you could have lived an awful life. You could have been one of the most despicable human beings on the planet. But if at the last minute you really believe in Jesus Christ, you go to heaven. Whereas somebody who's been a wonderful person,
but they haven't quite lived up to
it.
But
they didn't believe in Jesus Christ, they go to hell.
Yeah.
So what kind of God is that, to do something like that to people, to good people, throw them down there, and to let despicable people get into heaven? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Saturday Night Live, the opening act last night. Last
no.
Saturday, they had Colonel Gaddafi was on.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He was in hell.
Yeah.
He was in hell. He said it's really not so bad down there. But he doesn't mind the heat, though. So.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of used to it, you know.
Yes, that's right. He was in although I don't know if that part of Africa gets that hot, does it?
No, it can't be. I mean, when you see the big, thick, heavy turbans that they wear, and they've got these coats, and it's like, are these guys cold?
Well,
you know, and then you see some like the Saudis there, and you know they're running around in their little see-through dresses. For crying out loud, just gauze.
Not the women are.
Yeah,
they're not. No,
they have to dress in blankets.
Yeah. They got to cover up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a situation that when people want religion foisted on us, they want a theocracy. That's the kind of theocracy they want, you know, where women have no rights. Of course, some of them might say, yeah, that's a good idea. No, you know, so some of the people on the real religious people who believe the Bible, that women should be submissive and so on. So they might agree with that. They might think that's a good idea.
Because women are the lesser vessel.
Adam's rib and all that.
And but it's surprising that it's only now women are now taking a stand and saying, lesser vessel, my ass.
Well, some of them are. Some of them aren't, though. Some of them over there accept that. But if you grow up with that, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
So some people just accept it. But yes, slowly women's rights are being restored over there. I understand they made some promises to. I don't think they can let them drive yet, do they? No, they're not driving. They're going to vote, though. Is that right? And run for office? Yeah.
Now, I just heard there was one emirate or country or whatever it is where the new leader gave the women the right to drive a car, and they said they'd never been able to do that.
Although,
before.
if I remember when the president's advisor went over there, and maybe my wife can remind me of her name, President Bush's advisor, Hughes, wasn't her name Hughes? Karen Hughes, yeah. Went over there. One of the things she talked to those women about, we're going to get you the right to drive. And those women said, we don't want the right to drive.
Yeah.
Because they didn't even want it. So we don't know what they want. I think they want first things first, as the voting and the other things. And then they'll get around to driving, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, there isn't that many shopping malls there anyway, and most of the markets are easily within walking distance anyway. So they don't. Most of them are are healthy women that are used to doing a lot of walking, but that vote being a that makes them equal
Yes.
with a man.
Yeah.
And they can, just by the stroke of a pen, basically toss a man out on his
Well,
butt.
it's going to be slow going now. These things don't change overnight.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
you mentioned we've never been to Saudi Arabia. So I don't know what their society is like. The only Muslim country we've ever been to is Morocco. We were in Morocco for a few days, and they seem rather liberal. Women didn't have to wear headdresses there; didn't have to dress up. Some of them were dressed in regular Western garb. I think mostly it was younger women. My wife will nod if she's that's mostly they were younger people, but they were dressed kind of normally, and we understand that the call to prayers that you don't have to go each time. It's 5 times a day, I believe.
Yeah.
And we were told that if you're busy, you don't go, and then you can go at the end of the day and do all 5 prayers at once.
Yeah.
So, and they're not quite as strict, I guess, as some other countries.
I was watching something on Martin Luther King and black protests and everything back in the days of Martin Luther King's and the March on Selma, Alabama, and everything. And you watch it nowadays, and you say, how barbaric those police were.
Yes.
I mean, look at them. I mean, the people were just marching in the street saying, we will overcome, and all of a sudden, a bunch of cops start beating them with nightsticks, dragging them off.
We know where they were coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at Occupy Wall Street. Some of those people are getting beatings too.
Yeah. And now, of course, there are some of them that go there to needle the police, but merely refusing to vacate a particular area, I don't think is a good excuse. A reason
They should let them
to have your head blooded with a nightstick.
Now, since we're of an age where we remember the anti-war protests, they some of them got pretty violent.
Yeah.
And I remember running through the streets in Milwaukee with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, when somebody started throwing bricks through windows, and we hightailed it out of there. We managed to get away from that nonsense, so we didn't get arrested there. That was
But doesn't it kind of make you wonder, why would someone want to destroy their own neighborhood because they are mad at someone else?
They want to cause damage to the. I don't know. Remember the logic behind people throwing the bricks through? Well, they weren't in their neighborhood. They were throwing them through windows of businesses in the town, and it's not where they live.
Yeah, well, that's one of the first, sales going on. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's 100% off. Yeah, just take it out from the window.
Now, speaking of Occupy Wall Street, some people are now saying Occupy Penn State because of what's going on up there, with the sex scandals. There's some very unhappy people up there. God didn't exactly watch over those children, did he?
No.
Yeah.
No. It makes you wonder. Well, I mean, even the priests.
Yes.
You say to yourself, if there really was a God, would he allow that to happen with his clergy?
Yes.
I mean, if anyone needed smiting,
Yeah.
it would be them. I can see where God may ignore certain things, okay, if there were a God. But if there were that God, why would he turn a blind eye to the people that represent him, and let them just run off and do anything.
Well, I think we know the answer, but
Yeah.
you know, the what you get from the theists is a rationalization that, well, God didn't do that. That's man's doing that. But I thought God controlled everything. You know, if I had control, if it was up to me, I had control of this, there would be no children molested ever.
Yeah.
And there'd be no women beaten, and there would be none of the mayhem you see in the streets. None of that would be going on. So I don't know why God can't take control of the situation, because they say he gives man a free will. Well, free will to do. The priest gets a free will. Well, what about the child he's molesting?
Yeah.
Does he get a free will? No, he's stuck for life. You know.
Well, I mean, you know, there's a free will, and then there's a free pass.
Yeah, they get a free pass.
And there's a lot of free passes.
But it's catching up to many of them. Many of the priests, especially in the Catholic churches, and I understand other organizations too. Nowadays, if you volunteer, you want to work with a youth baseball team or basketball team, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks at you and wonders why. You know, you really want to good there for the kids, or you're there for the kids to get the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to be careful now, and they need to do a better job of vetting these people.
Well, that's rightfully so, and I mean you see a lot of these kinder care units where if you're a working mother, bring your children into us, and we'll take care of them. Well, I mean, should show up all kinds of red flags here and say, investigate this, vet this.
Well, I think they are more and more now, especially child care places. They have a lot of. I know in New York City they have, I think, a lot of regulations they have to follow, don't they? Yes. My New York City expert tells me that. Shakes her head. Yes. Yeah. So that's good. But if you're a working mother, you gotta have a babysitter. So you gotta find a good place.
And some of them are charging a pretty penny for watching your kids. You spend half of your pay on a babysitter, basically, but you're paying to give the people that are taking care of them a free pass at doing what they want with your children.
Well, listen to the children too. A lot of times they will tell you that they don't like this place. I don't like Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, and listen to them, and you'll know that something's going on. They can't always express exactly what, but they know something is wrong.
But I think that the fear of accusing an innocent person really does scare a lot of people. And they say, "Oh no, we don't want to ruin someone's life who we can't prove." But
it would, but to be falsely accused of that would be an awful thing. That would just
it doesn't go away.
Yeah, and even if you were as innocent as could be, if people believe that about you, that's their perception. It would ruin your life.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the fellow who was accused of the anthrax. It ruined his life. It turns out it wasn't him.
Yeah. And what was that guy that found the bomb there?
The security guard. Yeah, they gave him.
And they said no, they pinned him. It was him, and they brought him in for questioning so many times, and it wasn't until years later that they found the actual person.
The religious guy.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to our last minute.
Yep.
Not our last minute of life, but our last minute of the show. So
we're on our last leg, so to speak. But our next show, just by the way,